like I'm not one of those type of people who were like, we grew up with music in the household. Like I didn't have any parents, you know, that were musicians or any known uncles or close relatives who like were just deep into music that I was aware of at the time. So I just kind of stumbled into it through like, you know, people, friends at school, and you know, TV and the limited access to radio. Hearing the message by Melly Mel when I was really young, and I think what like really just solidified it for me was you know, when Run DMC came down and really set off, you know, Run DMC and LL them, like how they held it down when they first came out. It was just like, you know, that was like the biggest impact, you know, in my early development.
Some of the earliest stuff that I can remember listening to, the KRS-One, the of course like the rock hymns, but also the groups like 3 Times Dope. We would listen to NWA, Jungle Brothers.
Houston wise, definitely Ghetto Boys, K Reno, Point Blank, you know, the whole SPC crew. Gangsta Nip was one of my favorites.
When did you first start really writing?
Yeah, I started more so writing from a perspective of a poet first, and then evolved into the perspective of an MC. Like I always would freestyle, but I never would write. It was just like I would just kind of just freestyle. But I never really just technically sat down and just wrote rhymes. Like I technically sat down and wrote poems, and that came really in high school.
In elementary school, probably 3rd or 4th grade, I knew that I wanted to be involved in music, and hip hop music specifically.
Right.
Back then, like I knew that I just wanted to be like somewhere a part of it, not necessarily being at the forefront. I knew I wanted to be like more so behind the scenes. I actually wanted to be a DJ initially. My earliest starts, I was like the cat that would beatbox for everybody.
Okay.
You know, around the way.
Right.
Or whatnot. I was like the only cat in my school that could really beatbox like seriously and could hold it, go for you know on and on and on, you know, more than a couple minutes straight without falling off. You know what I mean? So I was like, that was my role initially.
Me and Sav, we went to the same high school, but we didn't really just know each other. Like I would see Sav every now and then, like rhyming, and then when we got to college, that's when we connected more. And Sav would come through the room. He would come through the room, and we would sit up. And we would chop it up and we would listen to music. And I always knew Sav could rhyme, but he never would really he wouldn't just really put himself out there.
Right.
Like, we would freestyle every now and then, or I knew he was talented just by some of the freestyles. Or when we would do the poetry stuff, Sav would usually be like the only MC.
Right.
Like, he would, and he would have rhymes, and he could say his rhyme like a poem. And me, from a poetic aspect, I'm like, man, you know, this dude, he pretty ill with the wordplay. Like I can remember some of his, I probably can remember some of his old rhymes that were like poems better than he did. You know what I'm saying? It started off as like me strictly doing poetry and Sav strictly being an MC, and we wanted to kind of innovate on some poetry, MCing, like merge the two worlds together. So we kind of made people realize that poetry and MCing is not that far apart.
So how did y'all come up with the name? Sav, you can
yeah, actually it's really weird. We didn't come up with the name ourselves actually, but I mean that just shows you how, you know, the creator works and how it's kind of like meant to be.
Yeah.
During the time when I was doing my first CD project called the Houston Chronicles, Flash Gordon Parks was the photographer for that for the photo shoot for it and whatnot, and we were kind of like just going around different parts of 3rd Ward where we kind of had spent a lot of our times on the artistic scene. There was like, we were in the neighborhood and there was like this old kind of dilapidated kind of house or whatever looking structure, or old office building, what it really was or whatnot. And the name of it was the Black Embassy. I mean, I think to me what Black Embassy represents is duality and balance and the Black experience. You know? Best of poetry and hip hop.
Yeah, you know? we're not trying to talk over people's heads.
Right.
You know, that'll negate the whole purpose. We want it to be accessible enough people to bump in the ride, but at the same time, they may not even catch something till later. Like when I first got into hip hop, I didn't know what Rakim was talking about. Hell, I didn't know what Wu-Tang was talking about. I just knew it sounded good. I was like, man, they were saying things like you jamming to it, but I mean, even some people that listen to Houston music, they not from Houston, so when people say swingers and candy paint, they may not even know exactly what they're talking about, but it sounds good to them. And then they catch on later on, and like, when someone pulls them to the side and says, you know, they talking about this, or, you know, when Wu-Tang says this, they actually mean this. You know, sometimes the people have to catch up with the music.